Hey, Kevin Simpson here, and you're watching SNG TV, the place to be for the dreamer, go-getter, and action taker. Super excited. Today's guest is Joe Brown, the founder and CEO of Addicted Success. Joe, thanks for joining us, man. Super excited.
Kevin, thank you so much for having me, mate. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Always, man. Always. So, if I can sum up your website into 5 words, Addicted to Success, it would be one-stop shop for success. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's what we're going for, man. So I'm happy that that's what you think it is. It's the self-development hub. That's what we're going for. So thank you, man. Thank you.
I love it. And that's kind of like I'd kind of say that's kind of the take that we at Strive and Grind are taking too. We're all about empowering all the dreamers, go-getters, and action takers. So I love your thought process there. So talk to us a little bit about, how you came up with, the website itself and the brand Addicted to Success.
Yeah, no, great question. So I used to work in a sales job selling fiber optic internet connections to medium and large size corporate companies.
Cool.
This was about 4.5 years ago. And the CEO of the company brought in Jordan Belfort, who is the Wolf of Wall Street. Some of you might have seen the movie, Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio. It's kind of crazy. But it's based off Jordan Belfort's life. I think it's loosely based off his life because that movie was insane. I don't think his life was exactly like that. But he's an incredible salesman. He's going around the world now teaching people about good ethics in sales and business, which is great. He's turned his life around from the old days. And I had the opportunity to train with him, and I was asking him a few questions in between breaks. And I was a little bit kind of lost. Like I love self-development, and I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was kind of stuck in a corporate job. I wanted more out of life than just traveling to and from work every day, 2 hours a day, which is like 10 hours a week, 40 hours a month, 400 and something hours a year that I was wasting my life sitting in, commuting in traffic.
I love the breakdown there.
Yeah, you gotta break it down, man. When you do the numbers, it scares you sometimes.
Yeah.
So he really just kind of painted the picture that, there's opportunities out there to really run with whatever your passion is and whatever you love and wherever your strengths lie. And I used to read a lot of self-development books. I'm good at computers. I kind of put it together. I was like, hey, maybe I could start a website. And I didn't really think of it as a career. It was more like I just wanted to go in and do something to keep me happy for a little bit, And what I did was I started bookmarking motivational videos and inspirational articles, and I just write a few of my own thoughts here and there. And I was probably about 15 articles, 20 articles deep. And people around my office at work started noticing that I was on there, and they're like, what's that? And they checked it out, and then they started sharing it with their friends on Facebook and Twitter. And I was like, wow, there's something here. People like being inspired. And I saw that other bloggers were making a lot of money online. Yeah. So I was like, how are they doing it? And I found out that you can put ads on your site and all this and that. I didn't put ads on my site for probably about 9 months because a lot of the professional bloggers were saying, don't do that because you don't want to drive traffic away from your site. You want to keep people on there.
Right.
And, I just went all in. Like I set out, like I was at my job in between like sales phone calls. I was like updating my site and putting new articles up. So I was kind of like working on my business from my office 9 to 5. So, which was lucky for me. It's fortunate because a lot of people can't do that when they start their own business. So, yeah, I did that, and it just took off, man. Like I remember being at 5,000 views a day, and I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. Yeah. And I was making a little bit of money on Google each day, where it was like paying for my subway, it was paying for my my smartphone, like my cell phone bill, and maybe a couple other things, a drink and maybe my gym membership. And I was stoked. I was like, this is incredible, man. This is like, I'm starting to feel a little bit of freedom here. And and it just kept picking up and picking up and picking up. And, it's, I was lucky because I was in at a good time, 4.5 years back. We were the only ones at that time really doing the picture quote thing, like getting all those picture quotes out.
Yep.
And yeah, it was just the perfect formula for success, it jumped from 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. Now we're like 4.5 years down the line, and we've reached over 55 million views worldwide.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it's incredible, man. It's epic. Like I didn't think that we'd ever get there, but it works, and we just stuck with the formula and consistent, and you know, a lot of contributors want to be a part of what we're doing. I think that's the main thing, is that, you know, you want to build a platform that people want to be a part of, you know, start building community around your platform. So yeah, that's my answer, man. That's how it all started.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the why, right? So you created this beautiful platform, right? You have people who want to contribute to it. You have over 50 million million views worldwide on your website. So what's your why now for the website? What's the purpose of it aside, you know, from the making money? Is it to inspire and motivate, or what do we want to encapsulate here?
Yeah. So, I mean, Addicted to Success, the site has its own legs now. You know, we've got to
Yeah.
the point where it's just running by itself, basically. Like, it's not by itself because we have people that
Right.
contribute and update, and we're growing with that. But I always see it as kind of like a subsidiary of something even bigger that we're doing. You know, I'm always looking at like, okay, we've got this now. Like, what's next? You know, what do
Right.
we do here? A lot of it is really, you know, based around the idea of having the site, running events that are Addicted to Success events, apps, books,
Love it.
signing coaches, kind of like a music, like a
Yeah.
record label, but signing actual like coaches that are, you know, up and coming, and helping to market them. So that's really like kind of a holistic view of like what the future looks like for Addicted to Success.
Hmm.
So yeah, like I said, you know, I'm always looking forward, man. I'm not kind of stuck where I am right now, and I just keep, you know, what can we do next? How can we make this even bigger than it already is?
Right. Nice. So what does success mean to you?
Yeah, so success means to me that you are living your purpose.
Yeah.
You're living your telos, like the Greeks say. You know, you're living you're living your calling. And this is the thing. Like a lot of people, they chase the material things. You know, and in the beginning, I was all about the money.
Yep.
I'm good with money right now because I look at it like, well, you know, we can always make a little bit more. That's fine.
Hmm.
But I have my business running now, and if you're always like, what's next, what's next, in the sense of financial, building financially, then you're never going to be happy, you know.
Yeah.
So it's more about like, am I living every single day, waking up, jumping out of bed, excited to be a part of something that I've created, that I've built, and that other people want to be a part of as well. So that's really my definition, is building and creating something that inspires others. So everyone's definition obviously is different. Like everyone I interview too, they've all got different definitions, but that's
Right.
really mine. You know, living your purpose and inspiring others.
Love it. So tell us a little bit of a story when like you have this very successful business right now. Tell us when you were at an all time low and how you kind of overcame that and got to where you are now.
Yeah, so I think an all-time low would have been when I started getting stagnant. You know, we reached a certain point where the numbers, or like the views and the traffic that was coming through, was kind of hitting that point where it's staying at that same level every month, and we weren't seeing that growth.
Right.
Uh, what I needed to do was, and I tell my students, my clients, is like, you know, you've got to unplug, you got to disconnect. And what my fiance and I did, we actually traveled out to India,
Wow.
right in Kanua in Kerala, and we stayed there for a little while. It was like 6 weeks. And it's funny because like I was out there working on my site, and a coconut tree fell on our power line and wiped the whole internet out. And
Wow.
being, you know, India, it's kind of like you call them up and they're like, yeah, we come to fix your line, and then like it'll be like, yeah, how long? And they're like, oh, sometime this week.
Right.
So it was like something like 7 or 9 days or 10 days, something like that, till they
Oh,
finally
man.
fixed the line. And by the way, I saw them fixing the line. They were out there standing like barefooted, no helmet, like climbing this pole, like holding this
Jeez.
wire. It was crazy, man, crazy. But yeah, they fixed the line. But the thing is, like in between then, I was like, well, I don't have the internet. I was freaking out. I was like, what am I going to do? I can't update my site. I can't do this and that. I had to try and go somewhere else to update it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because we're so used to having that little dopamine hit of those little achievements and checking your notifications and checking your
Yeah.
phone and you know, checking your emails. And I had that taken away from me. And what happens is when you're seeing all these things all the time, that's what gives you that energy. You're always like, oh, I need to check this, I need to check that, I need to check this. So when you disconnect from it, what happens is you've become a little bit desensitized to the other things in the world.
Yeah.
So it might seem a bit more boring and flat to you because you haven't been a part of it for a long time. It's not as interesting as what you've been having going on in your world. And when you have enough time to disconnect from the high sensation, checking things all the time and viewing all these videos and everything, you actually start to allow your mind and your body to balance back out, to recalibrate.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what happened, recalibrating. I started kind of sitting back and seeing things more as an observer, and going, like sitting by myself and thinking like, oh, this is what I need to do with my business, instead of sitting on the internet in the online world going and this and that and this and that and getting like preoccupied with all the distractions. So I think that's a huge thing for anyone, for any entrepreneur, any person that strives to be an innovator or creative in their field, is you do need to unplug, and it's been my biggest struggle, to be honest. Like that was like a tough time for me back then, and I saw that it made a difference. Even now, it's like my fiance and I, we try to, like, when we wake up, we try not to check our phones first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's a habit because we, creatures of habit. That's all we are.
Hard,
so
man.
it's killing the habits, like now and then, the ones that don't serve you, and it's also knowing that something's not serving you too, which is the biggest thing. And that's about being conscious of what's going on. A lot of people aren't conscious. They're unconsciously running through their day each and every day, not knowing, what are these environmental things that are affecting them, and how is technology affecting them. So yeah, man, it's I'd say that's the biggest thing. And then it's just being wise to what's going on around you, and adjusting for it to be in a place where you can run from advantage rather than disadvantage and disempowerment.
Absolutely. Kind of talking a little bit about your unplugging. I find it hard sometimes, man. Like if I have my phone with me, I'll go on Instagram for, I don't know, a split second, and then I'll put it down. And then 2 seconds later, I pick up my phone again and go on Instagram. Like it was going to update within those 2 seconds. And then I'll wait like 30 seconds. And then I think about it and I start catching myself like, why are you doing this? Like, stop. Put your phone down. Sometimes I have to throw it like over in the corner or something like that to get it away from me, so I'm not like thinking about it, because it's really that addicting. And I don't know. I mean, I'm only 26, but I do remember what times were like without the internet or without, all this technology. And now kind of thinking back, it's like, well, what would you do if you did not have that at your fingertips? So I think unplugging, man, is definitely important. So let's talk a little bit about the challenges that you've, had to overcome, operating your business. Were there any big challenges that you've had?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is myself, man, to be honest. A lot of it is really, I had a Superman complex where I felt like I had to, like, it was only me who could run everything and control everything, and that I could do it all myself. And the truth is you can't. Once you get to that level, I tell a lot of people this, that you got your 4 quadrants, which Robert Kiyosaki talks about. It's employed, self-employed, business owner, and investor. And the biggest thing biggest struggle that I had was that I was sitting for so long in the self-employed bracket, and I'm moving out of it at the moment. Actually, to be honest, I'm moving out of it to kind of be in more of a creative field myself. But I was sitting in the self-employed bracket for too long. And the thing is, you need to move to that business owner bracket where you can give the power to someone else to run it. And I think it's letting go and going, like, the truth is somebody else could run it. If you train them up, they could run the business.
Yeah.
And once you understand that and you put it into practice, you can then build another business, and then you start to build a system where it's duplicatable, and you understand how the system functions and how to train people, and you just keep repeating. You can be a multiple business owner, a serial entrepreneur, whatever they want to call it. If you look at, the richest people in the world, I think something like 80% or 85% of them on the billionaire list, they're all investors. They invest in something. So it just shows you, like, you want to be super rich, you want to be super wealthy and abundant, and you want to, whatever, have the word at your fingertips. It's about investing, owning businesses and investing. So that's my biggest thing, man. Is really now I'm super open to, like, helping, like, teaching other people, showing them how the business runs, and getting their hands dirty and getting them in the trenches to do the same as well. And it's great. It's inspired. It's cool. I've had, like, interns that have come on board and employing some at the moment, and yeah, it's awesome, man. And I've also found that I have a little bit of more free time for my relationship as well, which is super important for a lot of
Perfect.
entrepreneurs. Is you need to have that time for your relationship. And yeah, and I'm gonna be getting married next month. Oh, actually, July,
Yeah.
2nd of July,
Love it.
out in Positano in Italy. So it's gonna be good to have that disconnect, but also know that people are there running it and holding the fort down with my business. And I think that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs should really get around to, because otherwise you're gonna sit there for years and years running it all yourself and be a one man band, and that's not cool, man.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. Good stuff there. So let's talk a little bit about, the striving to why you do what you do. So I know you talked a little bit about you love to read a lot of books. You're into self-help, things of that nature. What are your top three favorite books on success or self-development?
Oh, top three favorite books. There's one, I can't remember the guy who wrote it. I think it's called like The Entrepreneur's Mind, The Mind
Mm,
of an Entrepreneur. That was a really awesome book. It was cool because it's not your typical book. It's a list book, so it's like point one, point two, point three, and it's some like 60 steps or 65 steps. And it's cool because he has like his own little story in each step as well, and how we can relate to it.
hmm
So I think that was a book that I got a lot of value from. As far as like more self development books, in the sense of thorough self development on one or two topics, it would be Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yep.
Pretty much anything by Gary Vaynerchuk. This guy's crazy. He's
He's
always
a
on the
boss,
cutting
man.
edge. He kind of knows what's going to happen before it happens, so you
Yeah.
follow his lead. And yeah, his books were awesome. He inspired me to really step my social media game up with Addicted to Success, and anything Tony Robbins, but not his books, his actual audios, because I feel like you get a lot more energy from Tony through his audios, because his voice is like electric, and
Yeah. It's
powerful.
real
So,
powerful. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So, yeah, audiobooks of Tony, Gary Vaynerchuk, and The Entrepreneur's Mind.
Love it. So I'd say for entrepreneurship, my number one go-to book would be by MJ DeMarco, The Fastlane Millionaire, or The Millionaire Fastlane. Have you read that one?
No, I haven't. I was supposed to interview MJ. I was speaking to him not long ago.
Oh, wow.
But I haven't even read his book, man. To be honest, like I've heard all about him,
Yeah,
and I'm definitely going to check it out before I interview him. That's for sure.
that's a boss book, man. I love that book. That really got me
Awesome.
fired up. And then I'd say my two self-help ones would be Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Have you read that
Okay.
book?
No, I haven't. No.
And as well as Think and Grow Rich. I'm sure you've read that one by Napoleon Hill.
Oh
Napoleon
yeah,
Hill's
I've
the
read
man,
that. That's a
yo.
classic.
Yeah, you have to read Outwitting the Devil. I mean, he wrote that book almost 100 years ago, I'd say, and to this day, the stuff is still relevant. Like, it makes no sense how he was able to foresee the stuff that's still going on today. It's absolutely amazing. So I know for you, man, you were able to interview personally a lot of epic people or successful people doing great things and impactful things. Tell us a little bit like how that first experience was for you to interview your first big time person, or better yet, who was that?
Yeah, great question. I think the first big time person would have to be Gary Vaynerchuk, and I actually flew out to New York
Ah,
to interview him in person on video. So we did that, and it's funny because like I look at it now, the interview was like two and a half years ago, and I'm like, oh my god, look at you, like,
yeah,
like self-critical. You're like, look at your old stuff. You're like, oh my god, did I ask those questions or like But yeah, no, I had the opportunity to interview him, and it was awesome, man. The moment I walked into the room, he treated me like a brother, like as if we'd known each other for forever.
love
I
it.
just couldn't believe how real and raw he is. Like you see him on camera, he's just like that in person. Like there's nothing to hide. He's so transparent,
Nice.
and it was a great interview. Like he was just himself, and he gave me quite a lot of time. We had a chat before and after, and yeah, it was awesome, man. It really builds your belief when you get to meet the people that you've looked up to, or that you've read their books. And then for me, it's really just platforming. Like
Yeah.
we have the platform already with Addicted to Success,
hmm
but once you get one interview and then you're pitching to somebody else to like get exposure on that your platform or
Yeah.
to interview them and so on. When you start building a name base, so you got like Gary Vaynerchuk, then you got like Simon Sinek and
Yeah.
Joe Dispenza, like all these people. Other people want to start being a part of that too. And I'm at the point now where it's like it's kind of ridiculous. Like we've got the biggest names now, so like it's not a problem for me to reach out to a lot of people. Like when I do reach out, it's usually a yes, and if it's not, it's because they're like super busy this month and they want to get back to us next month. So we had like Tony Robbins, who I've looked up to for so many years, man. I interviewed Tony, I interviewed Deepak Chopra, T. Harv Eker.
Wow.
I just recently interviewed John Assaraf, Mike Dooley, Dr. John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I have Grant Cardone in a few days, 2 days, I think. So yeah, it's awesome, man. It's really awesome. But the thing is, like, look, it's cool interviewing all these amazing people, and I think you need to do that. Like, it's good to ask those questions, and it's good to really help them promote their books and whatever they got going on, and vice versa. But at some point, you really need to work on your own self too.
Yep.
You know, you need to create your own thing. I want to be on stage with these guys.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be going to events with these guys. I want to be launching books and being a bestseller myself like these guys. So, yeah, at some point you need to kind of cut the umbilical cord and go, all right, I'm ready to move to that next level, and that's me creating my own thing.
Love
so that's what I've learned from the process of interviewing a lot of people.
Right. And I think, too, man, even for me interviewing a lot of people, you're able to capture and learn from a lot of people as well. Like some of them are giving great advice to you that, they could have put in a book or, packaged up into some kind of product or service for sale, but you're still kind of getting that content for free and kind of giving it out to the world too. So I think that's a nice little trade-off there.
Yeah, 100%, man. You got it right. That's so true. You can... I mean, this is a thing that I learned from Tony. One of the biggest things is I was talking to him about writing your own book and, standing out in the industry. And he said to me, Joel, your biggest advantage in business is truth.
Yeah.
And the only way to gain truth is through experience. So he gave an example of one of his stories where when he was younger, he started out in a speaking company. I think it was part of what Jim Rohn was doing or some speaking company. And there was a guy that was there that was kind of like his rival. Like he decided to challenge this guy. He's a little bit older than Tony, and Tony walked up to him and he said, I'm going to dwarf you. And the guy was like, what? And he's like, you do 3 speeches a month. He's like, I'm going to do 3 speeches a day. What I do in a month will outwork your year's worth of speaking. He just went crazy on this guy, and the guy was like, okay, whatever, crazy. And he did like three speeches a day, like consistently for like months on end, or 6 months or a year or whatever it was. And because he understood the importance of getting the experience, getting in the trenches, getting that hands-on experience. Because when you do that, when you travel the world and when you meet people face-to-face and you've got your own clients and you have your own stories after a while, you start to develop your own stories, and no one can take those stories away from you. Like when you're writing in a book, it's your story. It's not, I'm not writing Kevin's story, you're not writing my story, you're writing your story, and that's what stands you apart from the rest.
Right.
And also when you're able to give people results based off the experience that you have, that's what puts you in the cream of the crop, the cut above the rest.
Absolutely. So let's segue into what are your thoughts on, being average, or what are your thoughts on being mediocre? So you just kind of talked about diving into the trenches.
Look, man, those words don't fit in my vocabulary, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've always strived to live an extraordinary life. Like even before Addicted to Success, like I used to work in the music industry, work with major label recording artists. Used to live in Miami when I was like 19, 20 years old. Travel around the world, like seen like half the world already. I used to run my own radio show back in the day. Used to sell chocolate bars around the block to like double the price to make enough money to buy NBA basketball cards and Space Jam posters and so on. So for me, I've never settled. I think that's the thing. Like I think a lot of people settle, and I also understood the importance of, life is short. Like my mom always like really was there for me and supported me, and my father as well, but my mom especially, she taught me about the idea of, you can sit down and read a book and take a lot from a book. and you can put it into practice too. You know, and
Yeah.
that's what can change your life. And she supplied me with a few books when I was younger, which was a complete game changer. She gave me Michael Jordan's, I think it's like his autobiography with like photos all in it. It's called Rare Air. I had it when I was like young, and it was an incredible book, and it kind of brought you into the world of Michael Jordan, and you see him like getting up each day, you know, solidifying those habits and being persistent, and the failures that he had, and, all that. And like for me, I learned that at such a young age, like 6 or 7 years old, and I was like, wow, he was able to do it. I always look at like all these people that are successful, and I'm like, they're able to do it. That means that it's humanly possible. I can do it too.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. So, yeah,
That's
being
my mantra,
ordinary and
man.
that just doesn't fit my vocabulary, man.
Absolutely. That's my mantra. And that's kind of like the question I ask myself too before I end up going into something. It's like this person did it, so I can do it too. Like it's humanly
Yeah.
possible that I can do it. Like it doesn't make any sense that this person can do it and you can't. We cry tears, we bleed red, like it's the same thing. We're all human. So I love that. Let's dive a little bit into your hustle and your grind. What is an average day for you like?
An average day for me at the moment is a little bit different to what the used to be average day was. The used to be average day was really get up, skip every morning, right, to get the blood flowing.
Hmm.
It's good for the heart too.
Interesting.
Uh,
I never heard of that
yeah.
one.
Yeah. Skipping, man. I mean, it's a quick thing that you can do. So I got a skipping rope. I just go out and go boom, 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 do like, you know, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes skip. Just get the
Cool.
blood going. I have my vitamins, my protein shakes. I get on all my vitamins and minerals, right?
Hmm.
Herbal liquids and so on to get all the good stuff in my body. Have my breakfast. What I do is I also meditate. I go through phases. So like meditation is very important, super important. But I do go through my phases of sticking to my meditation and slipping a little bit, then going back into it and sticking to it.
Yeah.
I should be more consistent with it, to be honest, because there's so many benefits from meditating. So meditation, visualization. I also make sure that I write my to-do list the night before, so I refer back to my to-do list.
Hmm.
And lately, I've been putting time aside in the morning to really sit with myself and just read a book or do a little bit of research on my own interest outside of my business and my relationship and my other things in life. Just things that really excite me and fascinate me.
Perfect.
There's something that I shared on my morning motivation call, which I hold for 10 minutes every morning, you know, for a month straight. I shared recently that what I did was when I was younger, I used to have a fascination in ancient Greece, like the history of ancient Greece.
Wow.
This is when I was younger, and I remember I used to ask the teachers questions. They couldn't even answer it, and I remember this was like when Yahoo just came out, and I was sitting there and I used to check stuff up on Yahoo, and that kind of died off. I think as I grew up, moved, changed schools, and whatever, and I recently, a couple of days back, I was sitting there, I was like, I remember when I used to like really be into, you know, learning more about this. I have a little bit of time right now. Why don't I do it? So
Yeah.
I put an hour aside to go back to one of my old fascinations, my old passions, my old interests, back when I was like younger, 8 years old or something like that. And I jumped on Wiki and I started looking it all up. And I was reading and I was reading and I was reading and then I was watching videos and documentaries and it was crazy because if I felt like a kid again, like it was that feeling came back, the memories came back. It was like, oh, I remember reading about this when I was younger, and it was just really cool to do that, man, because it just like ignited this other flame in me, and it really inspired me to start even implementing some of the works from the Greek philosophers into my self-development teachings, like when I'm
Nice.
teaching my courses. So I was like, man, I can draw from this. This is like really inspiring. So
Yeah.
I think that everyone should really do that. And what I call it is like when you rewind your mind, right? Go back to like, if you can remember the earliest stage in your life, like maybe you were interested in basketball, maybe it was like a certain sport, maybe you wanted to be an astronaut or you wanted to be a crazy scientist or whatever. I think that you should put an hour aside this week to go back to that old fascination that you used to have. Just an hour, like it might turn into 2 or 3 if you're super
Yeah.
fascinated, but do that and take your mind back a little bit. Because what happens is in life, as we go through life, I believe that I think that I was even more hopeful, more faithful when I was younger because I didn't have all the BS of the self-limiting beliefs and people
Oh
around me
yeah.
saying, no, you can't do this and no, you can't. Around me, you know, when I was younger, I didn't have as much of that going on, so I just thought everything was possible. As you get older, you start kind of going through these experiences with people where they're non-believers, you know, in becoming more in life, and it starts to rub off on you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, go back to the old self and live there for an hour, or live there for 2 hours or a day, and just see if it changes your perspective on life.
I like that, man. I like that a lot. I love that. I think if people were to really appreciate those experiences and those feelings that they had as a kid, as opposed to, you know, what they are going through now, and they're like, oh, life hit me, or oh, I can't do this, or oh, I can't do that. Man, it's going to keep you stagnant and all that kind of stuff. But if you loved drawing back in the day, and like that fired you up and that gave you that positive energy and all that kind of good stuff, go all in on it, man, and have fun and do that. And that's where passion really comes down to. Passion is all about that feeling and that experience that you have when you go through, you know, some kind of event. So I think that's good there.
100%, 100%. Yeah, you're right, man. And the thing as well is, I mean, it's easy to say, and this is separate from going back to your old passion.
Yeah.
It's easy to say follow your passion, because I get a lot of people that ask me, you know, oh, how can I be successful? And it's like, oh, find your strength and then find your passion and follow that. And it's kind of kind of like a kick in the face for some people, because I know a lot of people don't know what their passion is.
Yeah.
So then what we do is we then go back to, what about your values? Let's find your highest values, because every human being has a set of values, right?
Yeah.
And your values are really like what you live and breathe for. Like every day, what do you invest the most money in? What do you spend the most time learning about? What do you like to conversate about with other people?
Yeah.
I mean, there's like 20 different things like to classify like what is a value. And usually there's like a top value, and then there's like a couple underneath that, and then it starts to get less and less and less and less. And then at the bottom of the list, there's values that are like least important to you, that you just don't care for at all.
Right.
So it's really understanding values, and not just for yourself to find out what your true passion is, what empowers you and what lights you up. It's also understanding other people's values too, because when you understand their values, you can start communicating to them based off their values, which makes sense to them, and they feel like they're heard and they feel like you care. And that's the biggest thing. Like, learn about human behavior, learn about emotional intelligence, because this is what's really going to give you the advantage in life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going through it right now, man. I'm learning as much as I can about human behavior and emotional intelligence, because at the end of the day, it's people, right? We're in a people business all the time. You're speaking to people. You've got to understand like what people are looking for. If you want to get your message out, you've got to be in the people's minds and go, well, you know, does this sound right to the people in my audience as well, especially if you're marketing and that, you know? So, yeah, that's the biggest thing. When you know what your value is, or your highest value is, when you step into it, you don't need me to motivate you. We don't need you to motivate us. You know what I mean? Like if you've tapped into your value, your highest value, there. You empower yourself. You light your own torch. Yeah. You don't need someone to light it for you. And that's probably the number one thing that I stress to everyone is like, sit down and work out your values. You'll be surprised how many people I speak to don't have an understanding at all of what values are, or haven't even written down and understand what their value is.
Right.
And that's the thing. You got to find out your values. You know, definitely.
Love it. So I'm a firm believer, man, on doing the complete opposite of what everybody else is, especially when it comes to success. So my question for you would be, what would be some of the things that you're doing? It could be personally, in your personal life, or in business, that separates you from everybody else, or say the competition?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So what I've learned, I have a great marketing friend named Sally Hogshead. She's like one of the top female marketers in the whole world. She works with like Pepsi and McDonald's and a long list of Fortune 500 companies. And she shared something with me recently in an interview, and she said that, Joel, it's easier to be different than it is to be better. Like, a lot of people are trying to be better than the competition. I don't look at the competition, man. Like, if you ask me, the other self-development websites that are online, I encourage them to keep putting stuff out, because I think it's great that they're inspiring other people. But for me, I don't go out and research them. I have the tiniest bit of knowledge on what they're doing. It's just a brief, big picture of, oh, that's that site, and they cover that, and that's it. I don't look at how they operate and how they do
Yeah.
this and that. Like for me, what happens is you start doing that, you get too involved in everybody else's world, you lose your originality.
Yeah.
You know, you start to unconsciously copy what they're doing. And this is not what like I'm about, man. I'm all about like being your own person, putting your own content out, you know, having your own brand, your own character to the brand as
Yeah.
well. And I've just always stuck by that. I've stuck by my guns. You know, I've made sure that we just keep continuing with what we have. And, you know, you can't please everybody. There's going to be people out there that absolutely love your stuff, which they do. We have people that are absolute fans. And you get some people that are like, oh, it's not good to be addicted to success. And they're trying to debate with you. And I'm like, well,
Yeah,
it
man.
depends what your definition of success is. I said, if you think it's money, then if you think it's not good to, you know, be all about money, then whatever, you're not going to be successful in whatever you believe.
Yeah.
But maybe my definition is different. So yeah, like I said, you know, you can't please everybody. It's all about sticking to your mission, your message, your brand, your identity, and staying to that. And I think if you keep straying away from it,
Hmm.
it's because it's not right. It's not a right fit. You still haven't worked out what your message is. You still haven't worked out what your identity is for your brand. And that's probably one of the biggest problems with a lot of people online is they can be easily influenced by looking at another website going, oh, I need this theme or I need to post more articles than them. And no, man, I'm not part of that game. It's all about value, like bringing a high quality
Yeah.
within the visuals and also delivering value. Like I won't accept articles that I feel aren't value. They'll get chopped. It's like, no, I'm
Right.
sorry, we can't be putting this out. It
We
affects
need
the
no
brand.
fluff right now. We just need hard quality content.
Yeah, yeah, we're way past that, man. We're not
Yeah.
desperate. Like I can wait. I could wait. I might not even update the site for a day or two if I don't get anything like good come through, or if I can't come up with something at that time, if I'm busy with something, you know, then
Yeah.
yeah, we just like it's a sacrifice that we make because we want to keep the quality there. We want to keep it consistent.
Absolutely. There's a book, man, called The Blue Ocean Strategy. Have you read that?
No, I haven't. No,
It's
sounds
man,
interesting.
that book is perfect on like doing the complete opposite in business from everybody else. You have like your red ocean that's really focused on the competitors, what everybody else is doing, how to take some of their market share and all of that. And then you have the blue ocean strategy, which kind of looks at what everybody else is doing and saying, okay, I'm going to add one, two, and three to my brand identity, take X, Y, and Z away, and then I may end up being in a own space of my own and creating my own kind of demand kind of thing. So you're in your
Mm.
own lane while everybody else is competing and stuff for their own piece of the pie. You have your whole pie like right here. It's a great book, man. I would definitely recommend that. I know you're all about reading, so that's a good one for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Thank you, man. Blue Ocean
Yeah.
Strategy. Okay, cool.
Absolutely. And then so wrapping it up here, what advice would you give some of our striving grinders out there who are looking to tap into and unleash their inner greatness?
Find your values. Find your highest values, and then after you've identified what your top values are, find a way that you can, or find a vehicle that you can use that will allow you to live within that value all the time. Like my highest value is self-development, right?
Yeah.
I love self-development. I love teaching, and I love like new experiences, man. I just love learning,
Yeah.
really learning and going out there and growing as a person, right? Growth. So find yours won't be exactly the same as mine. Everyone is different. So find what yours is, tap into that. Once you've found that, then you need to understand the underlying core things that are really going to allow you to be successful in any field is mastering your beliefs,
Yeah.
mastering your habits, and mastering your skills. So your beliefs is really your mindset, right? It's believing that you can do it. Your habits are those little energy bolts of action that you take every day. It's being persistent and consistent as well, right?
Hmm.
And then your skills, I mean, you know, you can believe and you can put in all these little habits, but if you don't have the actual skill, if you don't have the techniques right, then you're not going anywhere. So it's learning skills, and you know, there's a lot of people that make excuses on learning skills. There's YouTube, there's Khan Academy, there's
Yeah.
Udemy, there's so many you know, platforms online where you can learn new skills at a drop of a hat. You don't even need to sign up for any courses nowadays.
Yeah.
In the physical, which I mean that's a good way to learn as well, doing it in the physical, but there's so much online that you have no excuses to not learn new skills. So that would be my advice, man. Values, first and foremost, then beliefs, habits, and skills.
Perfect. Give us
Yep.
one action that we could take today to help us realize our dreams of tomorrow.
I would say it always goes back to values, man. Honestly,
Okay.
you know what? I mean, I'm going to tell you this too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, I would have maybe given you a different answer. It would have been, oh, this or that, and like. The truth is that there's so many different techniques and so much advice that's out there.
Yeah.
And I used to follow a lot of it and I used to share a lot of it. But honestly, man, you got to go back to the core, because the core is that when I share with you the values, beliefs, habits, and skills, that's specific. That's not a specific thing. That's general and it applies to everybody. Everybody can understand that. Everyone can work from that as a solid platform.
Yeah.
If I start saying, oh, you need to be more highly conscious, or you need to be emotionally intelligent, or you need to increase your productivity, or this or that, like everybody's different.
Yeah.
So it might not relate to them, and I don't have the answer for someone that wants to be the world's best pilot or wants to be an astronaut. I don't know that the answer for them. So that's why I always go to the core, and I think that what you should do is, and this is actually something really cool that I learned from reading an AMA Q&A with Elon Musk, who's the billionaire guy that created Tesla, PayPal, SpaceX,
school, man.
Solar City. He's incredible, right?
Yeah.
And he said that the way he learns, because like he obviously launched the rocket out to Mars, and he's launched he's landing rockets on these tiny little pads out in the middle of the ocean. He's an incredible guy.
Yeah.
And he said that like he had no understanding of rockets before he started SpaceX. And what he did was he picked up a book and just started reading a book. And then he started surrounding himself with rocket scientists and so on. But what he said was, like, someone asked him, like, how do you learn these new skills and learn these new things? And he said that you've got to look at whatever the craft is that you're looking at stepping into. You've got to look at it as if it's like a tree trunk, right? It's a tree. Mm-hmm. And reading the core basics from the, find the best book out there and just read through it, put a little bit into practice that you can. But definitely have a good understanding of the core elements of that craft. And that's your trunk. That's the trunk of the tree. And as you go out and you start branching, that's the kind of advanced textbooks and everything else, like the advanced things. And then the leaves are kind of like the added spiced up things that you can learn on top of that, which is like through your own experiences. So a lot of people, what they do is they might go out and they're trying to learn all the spicy stuff, or they're trying to learn like the branch stuff, but they haven't got a core understanding of what the basis is. And that's really what you need to do. Like any field you want to step into, if you want to be successful, understand the foundation of what you're stepping into. When you do, you've got the most solid part right, and the rest is just learning the little like tricky things here and there, which comes through experience and comes through like learning from other people in the industry too.
Great answer, man. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So this is a question we have for all our guests. What does strive and grind mean to you?
Man, that's my life, man. It means the ambition. It means the hustle. It means getting your feet dirty, man, in the trenches. That's what it means. It means that not settling for anything less than greatness, and understanding that you're not just here to live through the protocol of life. Like you're here to be somebody different. You're here to be a game changer. You're here to shake things up, and that you don't let the day run you. You run and rule the day yourself. Amen. That's what it means to strive and grind.
I like that. So Joe, what can we expect from you next?
So I'm just about to finish up my morning motivation calls for the month of May. We're now going into June, and what I'm doing is I held. It's 31 days straight of morning motivation for 10 minutes every morning. Wow. We played in 4 different time zones. We have MP3 versions of every single call. I'm actually packaging that together from the month of March and the month of May. And they're all unique calls. They're all exclusive calls. They're different from one another. So it's going to be 62 days of morning motivation. And packaging that, it'll be available around now, like I'd say mid-June or the end of June. And it's just your morning motivation course, 32 days, 62 days straight of morning motivation. And it's really just to hit the reset button on your body, on your mind. And, it's funny, like a lot of the people that are in the group have just said, like, I've over-delivered each and every month. They're blown away, which is great. I love that, because that's what I'm going for. I'm going for breakthroughs. I want to make sure that everybody gets a core understanding of what they need to do, and it's working, man. It's really working. I have hundreds of testimonials from the group already, so
That's what it's about.
Definitely get on that. That'll be on the Addicted to Success website. You'll see the banner on pretty much any article page that's on there. You'll see the banner for the morning motivation course. So get your hands on that package because it will absolutely change your life.
Perfect, man. We'll add that to the show notes as well. So when this goes live, we'll definitely be good to go there. So
excellent. Thank you, Kevin.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So Joe, where can we learn more about you online?
Yeah, so pretty much addictedtosuccess.com. That is the core business right now. You can head over to I am Joel Brown on Instagram and Twitter as well. And then Facebook is facebook.com/JoelBrownA2S. So, because that's addicted, the number 2, success.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
Perfect. Joel, thank you so much for joining us, man. Definitely appreciate it. Can't wait to publish this.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me here today, and you asked great questions too, man. So thank you for entertaining me throughout the interview. Thank you.
Thank you, man. So for all my striving grinders out there, if you enjoyed this interview, please follow us on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. Until next time, keep striving, keep grinding.